Good morning. Welcome, everybody. And it is Thursday, the Facebook show. My Thursday morning, every other Thursday morning, coming live from Mesa, Arizona to hang out with you guys here at Facebook. Just 30 minutes of talking art and trying to inspire you and get everybody back to the easel. It's easy to walk away from the easy easel. It's easy. Two E words. It's easy to walk away from the easel, isn't it? And sometimes getting yourself back there to the easel. Why is it creative people can procrastinate? It's an interesting subject, but it is very broad, spreads across all of us. We all deal with it at certain times. So I want to welcome you for coming in. Please, in the chat box, let me see who is here. I'll drop over to the chat box. Give me a hello. Remember to share and like this, thumbs up, let other people see it. We're all on this journey together. And like I said, I'm coming from Mesa, Arizona. I want to know where you're coming from. Who are you and where are you coming from? These are my Thursday people, and we always have new people joining, so that's a fun thing. So let me see who you are. Like I said, drop a note in the chat box. What we're going to talk about today are those final touches. It's the finishing of the paintings. And so we've been looking at a lot of clouds and a lot of different aspects of that. And good morning, Graham. Glad that you are joining us. And yes, you said indeed procrastination. It is a beast. I like that. I like that definition of procrastinating. It is a beast for sure. I've been through it myself. And good morning, Dave from Alberta. Graham, you're from Oregon. We got people coming in from all over the place. I love having everybody join. I found that I'm really enjoying these Facebook Lives. Not that I didn't enjoy them. I've been doing the summer sketch giveaways. I do 3 of those every summer. But as I'm getting into the rhythm of doing these every other Thursday, they're getting a little bit easier. And I look forward to it because it's almost like you guys coming into my studio, right? Because we spend so much alone time in the studio. Now, if you're out plein air painting with a group and you're hanging out with painter friends, that's a different element. But in the studio, when you're practicing, learning, preparing for shows, whatever you might be doing, it's a pretty much a little lonely journey, right? So this is kind of cool to have people joining in the studio. That's what I'm enjoying. 30 minutes and we're out of here. I have a little bit of some stuff to share, a little bit of a lesson. So remember, drop in the chat box who you are. I want to see everybody, but because of my time element that I put myself under, we're going to move on. So this week on the blog, I talk about the key to painting beautiful clouds is grays. So there's a lot on the blog about grays and painting clouds, but I'm going to talk today about some of the finishing elements. But one thing I always do is I always clue you in on where I am, and I want to show you a picture. Look at this scene. This was right outside my studio door. Now, this wasn't the other day, although we have had a lot of beautiful clouds. I just had this cool picture in my files for a while, so I thought I would share it. Check, is that not cool? That rainbow, how it's shooting down into that little hill that's outside my studio there. I just thought that was kind of cool. I live in Mesa, Arizona, and we have had phenomenal clouds this week. So later on another Facebook show, I'll share some more pictures of some of the clouds, but I had pulled that one up. So I thought that was pretty cool. Will I ever paint it? No, absolutely not. I will not paint it. I've painted one rainbow over my career, and I don't know. I just don't get into painting them all that much. Welcome, Kathleen. Thank you for checking in. So moving on, we're talking about the finishing touches. And so I'm going to pull up a few slides. Now, we've been talking about clouds, but finishing touches go into just about everything that we are looking at. But you basically get your big shapes blocked in. That's that first image on the left, right? And then you move on and you're adding more paint. And then the third image on the right is not, obviously the ground's not been touched, but the clouds you can see are a lot softer. And so what do we do? You know, finishing touches have a lot to do with edges, right? So here is a close up where there is the underblock of some clouds and then some fat, thick paint. Now, I call that fat, thick paint. If you've listened to me very long, you've been on my Facebook Lives, or maybe you've taken a course from me, I call that fat, thick paint my frosting. And so that's sort of what it looks like. And it's awkward. It's, you know, big brush marks, expressive brush strokes. And I do like to leave some. But then in clouds, then there's a lot of softening that goes on. Now you can see where there has been some softening that has taken place, right? So you go from fat, thick paint, lay it on fat. Let your brush maneuver. Let it design for you. You start here, but then finishing these things up, we go into more soft elements. You can use soft brushes, you know, to soften with. But you're going to, when you're softening with brushes, now, you know, there's a difference. We've got bristle brushes. Let me find something big here. We've got bristle brushes, right? And then we have soft brushes. So the bristle are usually hog hair. And then soft brushes will be sable, or this is a synthetic badger, but this is a soft brush. So the blocking in starts with bristles. Then the adding my fat, thick paint. Now, depending on what you're working on, sometimes I'll use bristle brushes down in my foreground when I'm really laying in fat, thick paint. But typically in the clouds, I go to softer brushes. Now, this is a Rosemary, the Angular Series 275. I use those a lot when I'm painting clouds. But that's a soft brush. So those are the differences. When you're blocking, you're going to use bristle. When you're refining, you're bringing in. So I call putting that fat, thick paint. Yeah, it is a beginning stage, but it is also refinement, because there are some of those marks maybe never get touched, right? Learning how to leave the right marks and soften out some of those marks are important key. Now, take you back to the slides. So that's where we've softened, like, excuse me, like I said, that underbase was all used with the bristle. Then that fat white paint was brought on with a softer brush. Then we softened. Now there's another step when we are going to talk about softening clouds. I use these fan brushes, and I know some of you know about this because we've had discussions about this. Graham, you and I had discussed this back and forth about these brushes, but there are two fan brushes that I use, the Holmberg Premier and then a Rosemary Series. And those brushes are very final finishing touches on clouds. All right. These brushes are what you use when you are softening the skies, like what's behind me. I get all of these blocked in, you know, and I probably work in sections too, but, you know, get all this blocked in. And then to melt some of that back in there, I use these fan brushes, right? So I don't use these fan brushes like dabbing. That's not how I use them. It's a very light touch in using them. And so we have these two, and I'll slide back to that slide here in a minute. But these are the two brushes that I will use, like this for a bigger painting, and then the Rosemary. So the Rosemary Series 105 and the Holmberg Badger, it's called by Creative Mark. It's called the Fan Blender. Those two brushes, let me take you back to show you that. Those two brushes are the ones that I use. Now, this is refinement. I don't block anything in with these. That is total refinement of, you know, if you're doing a sunset, it could be the same thing. If you're doing like a lake, it could do the same thing where you're wanting refinement. So I want to tell you, at the blog, there is this video at the very bottom. So the blog, lindaglovergooch.com/109. That is this week's blog. It's about how the keys to painting beautiful clouds. And part of that key is knowing how to do refinement and understanding grays. But down there at the bottom of the blog, you're going to find under more resources, you're going to find this video, which is how to care for your fan brush. I want you to jump over there and watch that video because I go through how to care for your fan brush. What I do is I go through the cleaning of it, how to take care of them, because there is a certain way to take care of them. And then I also go through how I use them in more detail than what I just showed you. I really go into some details about steps of that, about that. So the blog this week has got that on it, and it talks about refinement, and it talks about beautiful grays. So there is a main video on there teaching you about the grays, and it shows you some close-ups where I kind of describe in it a little bit more about the grays. But today we're talking about refinement, and I'm going to show you a quick video. You know, I always try to bring you guys a video of some sort. And let me check and see. Donna, welcome. You're here. Hey, if you are jumping in, please say hey in the chat box. I want to know who's here. Remember to thumbs up. Love this. Share it with your friends, whichever you like. But jump in the chat box and let me know that you're here. Now, I've got a short video to run for you guys. And this video today, like we're talking about finishing touches and all that. So this video today is about finishing touches. I did a voiceover, so I'm going to be quiet. I might pause it if I see something important that I want to say to you, but this is just a learning element. So we're going to roll through this. On this, I want to say special thanks to Arizona Highways Magazine and also Joel Hazelton for the use of this reference. Now, this was a big painting that I did with the Arizona Highways Magazine project. And so special thanks to them. Again, images and everything to do with this video are all copyrighted by them, but this was a special project that I did. So I'm going to roll this video so you can see as I talk about these finishing touches. If you guys are ready to roll, we're going to. Welcome, Roxanne from California. Love it. You guys coming in from everywhere. All right, let's listen to this. In today's video, we're going to talk about some of those extra special touches or the things that we want to work on. You know, there's much softening going on, coming back in with the lights, softening with my fingers, softening with brushes. It's a continual thing. You know, I'll flick out, like you see me there, flicking out edges, trying to create some of the breakaway clouds that happen in the sky. Just a pushing and pulling as I try to get the effect that I'm going for. Continuing with softening on the edges, bringing in other different values, color mixtures, all the gray blues. If you don't like something, wipe it out. Chiseling the edges, forming cloud shapes, cutting in, softening. See me cutting in with blue sky to change that edge and give it a little more variety. More fat, thick paint. That fat, thick paint is a little bit warmer than it appears in this video. It looks a little bit whiter, less warmth in this video. I did have a little bit of yellow ochre mixed with it. But I'm coming in, and you know, where I get close to the edges, I don't let that white, fat, thick paint be as dominant as it is in the larger clouds moving in towards the center. You can see me putting on that light paint, and then I just soften it back out till I get where I want. Predominantly, most of your cloud is soft. You can see how the edges of that yucca. Okay, real quick. So real quick, we were talking about clouds right there. Now I'm going to jump down into a little bit of foreground work. I work my foreground elements first in a blocked in state, meaning if I have a bunch of trees, I block them in dark and I pull clouds down into them. I prefer not to try to paint green trees or bushes or whatever in front of my sky. I love to work a lot of wet into wet. That's what creates very beautiful edges. So now we're going to jump down. So the video is going to take us down into where I have this big yucca, and I painted that yucca first. And at the end of this video, it kind of gives you a little increments of how I actually did that big painting. But now you're going to see me chopping back down into it, chiseling down into it. Just like you watch me paint big clouds and I chisel the blue sky back into it. This is how you kind of can create more painterly paintings too, opposed to a sky. Then we paint on this tree and then it looks pasted on and you got a lot of work to go back. So that's just my reasoning. Is there all different ways to skin a cat? Yeah, there is. Okay. This is just how I do it. So you watch another artist do it another way, and that's absolutely right as well. What we do is we figure out what works with us and our personalities. So I'm going to hit back and we're going to pick up that video again. But yes, I did post in the comment box how you get to this week's blog. It's the 109.com/109. And that's got all the information. Talks a lot about the color wheel too, because I really push people for the color wheel. Let me get our video back to going.
Really hard edged. I came and pulled in and chiseled in just like I did with the clouds. I did build that yucca in the beginning and then brought the sky cloud colors in and chiseled around that. Work on the thunderhead rain squalls. You know, they just take some work, a lot of softening. I go back and forth over those rain squalls multiple times. Lots of people ask me how to do them, and it just takes a lot of practice, a lot of painting and removing and adding it, softening. They're just a little bit of a time element in producing those or painting those rain squalls. Just back and forth. And I also take them out. Didn't like that little one on the left, so in comes the horizon. Still trying to get that look. So remember, started out with sketches, a pen and ink marker set that I used to do the drawing. Went to a small, like 5x16 study, same proportions, working out my palette, getting my pathway, then onto the big canvas, set my drawing, start with my dark yuccas, put in some loose washes of the foreground just to get weight up into the sky, the clouds, then back down into the yuccas and whatever kind of bushes I want to detail. Takes you through the painting, gets you where you want to go, that final product.
All right. So that kind of showed you, there at the end, you saw how I did those big yuccas first. Then I brought the sky down into it. So, and there's just a lot of finishing work. It's those finishing edges, the softness, the hardness, but it all just takes time. So hopefully that was a little helpful just to kind of talk some of those parts through. Of course, with every painting, there's a lot more to it, but this is just sort of some little taste here and there of it. And Jermaine, you're welcome. Thank you for asking about the blog, on how to get to that blog. I also want to talk to you about that. Let me show that there. So painting beautiful clouds, but also at that blog, that's lindaglovergooch.com/109. I go into the color wheel as well, because at this blog, I am talking about refinement, but I am talking about grays, learning how beautiful grays are. So there is a different video there altogether. It might be the same painting, I believe, but I've pinpointed grays in the cloud and talked to you about those mixtures. So I think you'll find that video really, really helpful too. And grays just aren't in clouds. You can use the same thought process if you're painting an ocean, lakes, or if you're painting, regular sky scenes or different grays, mountains. You can use some of the same thoughts that I talk about the grays in that big cloud. You can use at other areas as well. Things are so related in painting. So that is at the Linda Glover Gooch /109. That is the place for you to go right there. That's this week's blog. And speaking of this week's blog, so when I took you through the end of that video, I showed you some steps. I want to remind you, do your homework, right? Those finishing touches are great, but the foundation is what makes you able to bring in those finishing touches. So I'm a big person on pushing about sketching. So when you're at the site, you can also visit the 106. So if you go to lindaglovergooch.com and /106, that is the has an 18-minute demo there for you to do with pen and ink, and it talks about sketching. That's how to find time to sketch. That's that blog that I did a few weeks back or last month sometime about sketching, because I really I pursue teaching people, start drawing, start there and build on that, because that's really what helps you create beautiful paintings, no matter what you're doing, architecture, figurative, landscape, still lifes, all of those. They start with a good foundation and just learning, and it's fun, painting with pen and inks, or drawing with pen and inks. I guess we could call it painting too, but drawing with pen and ink and charcoal and those different, pencils. It's just the creative process. All right. So that is one thing that I really do push people to do. And so I'm going to look here to see if there's any questions. I've got you guys. Thank you guys for checking in. If you got any questions, throw them in the comment box. If you're watching the replay of this later, this will stay up. If you want to come back and watch it, if you want to share it with a friend. But if you are watching the replay, I want to welcome you and drop questions in the chat box. I will monitor this also a little bit later and see what people want to know, right? This is all about learning. It's our journey together. So speaking of a journey together, right now this week too, my cloud course is on sale. This will just be a very time sensitive announcement right now, but if you're interested in my cloud course, it's on sale until Friday, which is tomorrow, I believe. That ends. You can find that right here. I've been running a special this week on my How to Paint Cumulus Clouds. You can enroll at masterfulpainting.com. I do have something that I can drop in there. There is a coupon this week. Now this ends tomorrow. So if you are interested, go check it out. I know there are a few people, maybe even on here on this Facebook Live, that have taken that course already or are in it right now. So that is a course that teaches you how to paint cumulus clouds. And to check out, use clouds, you'll see all that. It's written right there for you on the website. And good, Kathleen, yes, I want you to check out the blog. There's so much there, and you can look at some of the past blogs too. There's just a lot of different information. We've been on clouds for several weeks, but, there's little touches of the foreground and things that I also put in there, but they, oh, there we go. I thought I had that up there earlier. That's that coupon code if you guys are interested. But let me hide that now and get back. I'm going to see if anybody has any questions. I hope that was a helpful demonstration. I try to bring things, to do something in 30 minutes is a little challenging, right? To pull together some kind of thoughtful lessons that I think can just trigger a few things. So this is what I'm trying to do, is trigger a few thoughts in you. Like, look at your work and go, oh, maybe I could do such and such to what I'm working on. Or you're thinking about starting something. Some of these little thought processes and just ideas can trigger things for you to get you to think a little bit deeper and further in your own work. And this is just a whole growing process for all of us. You know, we're all on this journey together. So we just want to stay at, you know, the easel and keep ourselves working on it, right? Just keep on going with it. So, like I said, I have let me put this up right here. I'm going to throw this in real quick. Remember, at the blog, go learn about taking care of those fan brushes. Did I say on these fan brushes, they cannot be bristle. They have to be soft, like when you're working on skies and things. And so this was what you will find painting beautiful clouds at the blog, learning about grays. I think that'll be really helpful for you to go over there. There's another whole video different than what I showed today, because I've gone into great detail on that video to give you more in-depth information about grays. And like I said, they will work for anything that you're working on. You got a mountain, you know, you've got ocean, you've got lakes. They'll help you in all those areas as well. And the color wheel, we go into the color wheel. So hopefully that was a good lesson for you guys. I'm looking to see if anybody has any questions. Remember, share this with your friends if you think they would like it. And hey, that was it. That was a wrap. I just wanted to touch base, you know, about a few things, those finishing touches. And you're welcome, Dave. Thank you for joining. I appreciate it. And all of you, you know, here from back east to California and Oregon, all of you guys that are tuning in, I appreciate you taking the time to join me. I will be back in 2 weeks from this Thursday, 2 weeks. I forgot to write the date down, but we'll be in April by then. Can you believe that? We're already in April. And I will be bringing another lesson your way, and the blog will have new information. And hi, Susan, welcome. I'm glad you made it. You can watch the replay. It will be up. I'm always go to Linda Glover Gooch, either Linda Glover Gooch or Linda Glover Gooch Fine Art, Susan. Either one of those pages I list there, and I usually try to pin it towards the top, the Facebook Live. So always look in those spots for me. And I know Facebook, sometimes you try to get to places and it can do some weird things. So, but I'm glad to see you, Susan. And Kathleen, you're welcome. All right, you guys, if you think of a question later, drop it, come back, drop it in the chat box. I will be monitoring it. Like I said, remember, let me throw that up again so you know where to go. So we are going to go to lindaglovergooch.com/109. That is this week's blog. You're going to learn how to take care of the fan brushes, right? You're going to have a whole video there of that video at the bottom. I show you how to use the fan brushes on the skies, and then I tell you some very descriptive instructions on how to take care of them so they remain obedient and do what you want them to do. Super important to know how to take care of those brushes. And then again, you will find the learning about grays there as well. And Susan, you might want to make sure you go back and watch the replay, because I did run a video about finishing touches. So I think that you will find that helpful as well. All right, you guys, thank you all for coming. And we're going to sign off. Graham, thank you. And I will see you in 2 weeks. And I appreciate Graham is my like cheerleader out there. He's always letting me know that I love to know that this is helping you guys. So I appreciate you guys greatly. So we're going to sign off. You, my friend, get to the easel, but go learn more at the blog. I put together a lot of learning stuff for you there. So that's your marching orders for the day is go learn and then get to the easel. All right, my friends, thanks for joining me. I'll see you in 2 weeks in April. Ciao.